Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. We're here to talk about Star Trek Prodigy's Season 1, Episode 4, Dreamcatcher. I'm here with my usual co-host and friend, Bobby Black. How you doing?
Oh man, am I your friend now? Oh, I finally leveled up.
Oh, thank you. So, this was the fourth episode of a show that I believe you have had problems with, but I thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Did you?
I did not. I thought that this was very. I mean, they're all like running off on their own, and I mean, as I said, this might be good for kids, but it's not hitting home for me. So I'm not saying it's garbage. I'm just saying it's not hitting the right chords for me. So yeah, I mean, I'll keep going, for the sake of doing the reviews, but I can't say that I'm going to be gracious to it every week. I mean, even Trick Culture has been very critical of it if you watch some of their videos. So I mean, I'm not. I guess I'm not the only one. So
I actually thought this was the most Star Trekky of all the episodes we've had so far within Prodigy. Like, we've had them having to go down to a planet, do some research, and exploration, stuff like that. Obviously, not everything is what it seems. It just seemed very Star Trekky in that sense, no?
I mean, not really. With and honestly, I feel like a lot of the sound effects that we heard with the Proto Star landing and stuff like that, I feel like they pulled those right out of Star Wars. Like, not even gonna lie, like they seem very Star Warsy.
Okay. Well, look, I've done a little play-by-play of this particular episode. It's been a while since I've done a play-by-play of an episode, so let's just start talking about this one. So this episode is called The Dreamcatcher. Nice name for an episode of Star Trek. And it starts off with Dal doing a captain's log, but not knowing what the star date is. I like that. He explains how Janeway is teaching the crew how to steer the ship and operate the ship and all of that. I mean, those are nice little scenes, don't you think?
Hmm, it was all right.
I
A
mean,
little nice little montage in the beginning, basically just showing some progression of the crew.
yeah, no, because we want these guys not to be too busy wondering what this button does and all that sort of bollocks. So it's
Oh, you
it's
mean the pew pew buttons?
well, I mean, it's understandable in the first episode, or the first couple of episodes, but after a while, we expect these guys to kind of know what the hell they're doing,
I just thought it
and
was
that's
funny that they had a Star Wars reference in the first episode.
with the pew pew.
Yeah, pew pew is a clear Star Wars reference.
Okay, fair enough, but Janeway, or hologram Janeway, that is, discovers a M-class planet, and it's in the Herosian system, which is pretty cool considering we were just with the Kazons not too long ago. Now we're the Herosians. Hello, by the way, to the people in the chat. First of all, Bandit and Daniel Vance. Yes, so's cousin Cheeto, by the way. He's tired. Daniel Vance, how you doing, mate? Is that a cat on my shirt? No, this is Jabba the Hutt, as in Pizza Hut, inspired by Spaceballs, of course. All right. Um, So the crew's quite excited actually because they get a chance to get off the spaceship and discover new things. Dahl doesn't want to go on it because they're being pursued by Emperor Palpatine. But Janeway then threatens Dahl with Starfleet protocol by saying, "Look, if he doesn't do this exploration, you're going to go to jail, or you're going to be, we're going to report you to Starfleet Command." Now, I find it funny that Dahl is worried about that, considering they're in the fucking Delta Quadrant.
Yeah, but
I'm not.
actually, I thought about this because this was one of the points that I was going to bring up, and then I thought about it. He has no idea. I mean, he knows that the Federation is kind of far away, but he doesn't know if the Federate how the like if the Federation can get to them quickly. So he doesn't want Janeway to report to the Federation because he doesn't know if they can reach him. You know, he doesn't know that they're way out of Federation territory.
Yeah, I guess so. He is on the run as well. He's got that, escapist mindset. So I can understand that. what is the next stream? The next stream will be tomorrow, and that will be on the rise and fall of TNA. I can understand that. Sorry. Rise and fall of TNA. So make sure you guys watch that. But sticking to this one, and what happens after that? Well, we don't know yet. So this planet seems to be uninhabited, and Janeway gives the crew tricorders, which was pretty cool. Have you noticed those tricorders look a lot different to the ones we're kind of used to?
Yeah, it was very not standard issue Starfleet tricorders.
So this rumor of that particular, and we're not talking 31st century here, but we are talking possibly some sort of future, distancy future. Could be the case regarding this particular ship, but they also are given phases as well. And she said there were class 1 phases. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I think the thing said type 1 phase, and I think she might have said type 1.
Yeah, type 1 phases, yes. And they also get given a vehicle called the Runaway. Kind of reminded me of the was it the Tumbler from Star
Batman?
Trek Nemesis?
No, that one was called the what was it called? I don't think it was called the Tumbler. I think it was called something else, but
fair enough. Yeah. Janeway also then explains that she can't leave the ship as she's a hologram. So going back to the she has no mobile emitter. I was thinking that too. Now, Daniel, I'm not sure if you know about the rumors regarding this particular ship and obviously having a Janeway hologram on it. Some people are saying that it's from the future, which has ended up in the past somehow, and it's honoring Janeway because she was in the Delta Quadrant, and this ship is supposed to be in the Delta Quadrant. So that could be some reasoning behind that, but it may not be that far into the future, not as far as in the future as when the Doctor received... Bless you.
Thank you.
When the Doctor... Bless you again. When the Doctor received his holo emitter, what century was that? The holo emitter?
I believe it's 26th or 27th century.
Oh, really? Okay, mm-hmm. So that's not too far in the future compared to...
A couple hundred years from Voyager time, but yeah, I mean...
Yeah. So I'm putting maybe, if this rumor of the protostar is from the future, I would say maybe about 100 years, possibly. Okay. So Janeway did explain that she can't leave the ship, and the crew decides to go exploring. And the first thing Zero notices is that there's no nutrients in the soil. Now, as soon as she says that, I think, there may be trouble ahead. No?
My first thought was holodeck.
Well, they're on a holodeck.
Like some kind of, or like a hollow planet, like a holodeck type planet that which is kind of the case. I mean, it's just organic based, not technology based. It's basically like a Venus flytrap on a planetary scale.
Okay. I mean, I'll get to what I think about this planet in a second.
Okay.
But she noticed that there is fauna on this planet. So we have a planet with no nutrients in the soil, but it has fauna. So that was interesting. It did make me think to myself, okay, shenanigans ahead. Then we see some viney things moving about. And instead of all of them staying as a group, they decide to all go their separate ways. I mean, Rock Talk, she wanted to be part of a group, but everyone's just so lost in their own research, so to speak. They end up going separately. Like Dahl takes the Runaway on his own and starts driving it around like he's fucking Lewis Hamilton. Well, I'm thinking Lewis Hamilton personally. I'm
trying to keep it Trek.
I guess so. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess. And obviously Zero, she's very much like she's the closest thing to like a Spock or a Data of this sort of crew. Like she gets lost in her own research and can't even understand, and forgets the fact that she's even being attacked and stuff, which we find out a little bit later on. But she goes her own way, and she comes across the ship's engine in this sort of maze. What's his name? Jacob Pog. He finds, some food in this cave. Sorry, in this sort of Hansel and Gretel style hut.
That was exactly what I thought when they got there. I'm like, oh, this is Hansel and Gretel.
And Rock Talk, finding some cute animals, and Dahl coming across his parents with a holographic Janeway when you realize that Janeway is not capable of being outside the ship. Then he realizes shenanigans. Before I continue, let's see what Daniel has to say. I think it's interesting that we trust Janeway. It'd be an interesting twist if the Borg Queen survives her future encounter with Endgame Janeway and using her image while she's reborn. Wow, that's deep. That's deep. That is interesting, but I think, and don't get me wrong, I like it, but I think it's a bit too deep for a kid show. And I'm not saying that something like that is not possible, but considering this is trying to bring in new people into Star Trek, I'm not sure if they go down that route because it is for kids.
I think this first season is going to be very, I don't want to say underwhelming, but it's going to be very straightforward. Like I think we're really going to see, the Janeway's actually Janeway. The crew is going to kind of come. We're going to see a lot of the normal tropes of a kids show just presented in a Star Trek fashion, I feel. But
now don't get me wrong though, by the way, one of the things I liked about this episode, but it kind of harkened back to my childhood of when I watched certain things that were for kids, but it was so much darker when I was young. Like you had shows like movies like The Goonies, which had like people like Chunk in the body in the refrigerator with a dead body played for laughs with a murdered, and then being chased by criminals, who kill people, being played for laughs, torturing their brother and stuff, being played for laughs. I mean, like, Dark Crystal. You had so many films. Never Ending Story was very dark. You had so many shows in my youth that were very dark, and I was really happy to see the darkness in this particular episode. I found it very enthralling personally. But going back to this episode, the plant Janeway kind of reminded me of Carpenter's The Thing. I'm not sure if you ever played Devil May Cry 4.
I know of Devil May Cry, but I've never played a single Devil May Cry game.
It kind of reminded me of one of the bosses from Devil May Cry who was like a plant woman. So yeah, it kind of reminded me of that. Now, Gwyn escapes her mind control to access her weapon, that sort of weird thing, that sort of bracelet thing around her arm. She's able to access it using her mind, and by accessing it, she's able to escape her prison and take control of the ship and make Janeway, the holographic Janeway, compliant. And she then sends a message back to General Grievous saying that she has control of the protostar. Now, this, I think, is going to be interesting because she's obviously told Grievous where they're at. She's obviously trying to make her dad happy, but we know what happens at the end of this episode. So there's a couple of things this crew of youngsters have to deal with, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Please interject anytime, yeah, by the way, Bobby.
I'm good. I don't have much to add at this point, so keep on going.
Okay. Well, I think we kind of find out that the planet itself is sentient. Would you say that's correct?
Yeah. Well, either that or the plant. Like as I said, it's either the planet itself or just whatever that plant is on the planet.
Because this is where it gets a little bit horror movie like, because like, because this planet is kind of showing the desires to the crew, and then it's like telling them stay. I mean, that's I love it. I love all this horror shit for kids. I fucking love it. I like the fact they're taking chances like that. They're not making it too fucking, bubble gummy. I very much appreciate that. I really do. It's scary, and I like that.
That's right.
And you feel,
traumatize our kids early so that they can be normal when they grow up.
I wouldn't look at it like that. I mean, I like the fact that we don't treat our kids like necessarily kids. They're young, but they're not naive. Expose them to things. I was watching 18 horror movies when I was fucking 7. Nevertheless, we get dulled and realizing that evil Janeway is fake. Fake Janeway is fake, and then he shoots her with the fucking with the phaser, which I'm very happy with. I'm not sure if he kills that particular Janeway or just I don't know
I
what
think
happened there.
I mean it was set to stun, so I mean I don't think they really killed anything, but because it said the standard setting is stun, and if they don't know how to turn it on kill, then
Yep. But then Dahl gets away on the runaway and then starts gathering the rest of the crew, with Jacob being rescued last, saying, "Why was Jacob rescued last?" Well, that's how it goes, mate. Somebody has to be. At least they rescued you and didn't leave you alone. That's how I looked at it.
yeah, right.
Yep.
I
So,
don't disagree with that.
so Gwen is trying to escape the planet now, and all these vines are stopping her from doing it. She leaves the ship very briefly to remove some of the vines, and that's when she comes across her dad, Palpatine. And when she sees her father, he seems to be a bit too loving, a bit too caring,
Yeah.
and that's when she realizes, you know what, you ain't my fucking dad. My dad's an asshole. You know, he never loves me. He's never nice to me. And she realizes that's not him. And then, you know, he becomes like this stay monster. Stay, stay, stay. I fucking loved it so much. I really appreciated that. And she runs back into the ship, and they're trying to escape. Now, even though holographic Janeway is now become more adhering to and more obedient, sorry, to Gwyn, she still tries to tell Gwyn, look, this is how things are gonna go. You know, you can't just leave the ship. You're gonna, I mean, you can't just escape. You got, with the vines covering the ship, you're gonna have to abandon the ship because the vines are completely covering the protostar. I'm kind of surprised the protostar wasn't able to come up with some sort of maneuvers to deal with that shit. You know,
I mean, it was a bit weird. I was thinking, I'm like, why is this interstellar starship having a hard time dealing with plant life on a planet? Like it doesn't. I mean, it didn't make much sense to me. But that's one of the issues I have with.
I also was wondering why they didn't beam down. I mean, I know we saw the
Hmm.
Voyager ship beam land on that one particular episode on that particular planet. But I'm kind of surprised they didn't beam down. I know they had the runaway as well, but they could have beamed that down too. So Gwyn decides to escape, and she. This is what I like about the continuity because we had the ship that she was building in the ship replicator, but that ship was damaged by Rock Talk when she was trying to grab Gwyn, who escaped in the last episode. So it was still damaged in this episode, and I like that. I appreciate that continuity. And
Yeah.
before Gwyn's escape, she sees Murph, this sort of like this blob which is able to change shape and everything, somehow stuck between some boxes. I'm thinking to myself, are you serious? Surely you can get yourself out of that, Murph. You know what I mean?
Oh,
You're a
but it's
blob.
Murph. It's poor Murph.
Yeah. And by the way, earlier on in this episode, Murph, sorry, Gwyn actually said to Murph, "You're a lot more intelligent than you come across." Would you agree with that? Do you think there's more to Murph than meets the eye?
Not really. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that, but I mean, they can do whatever they want. Like one day he can become like a college professor from Starfleet Academy. So
Well, look, you've got the guy, the actor who does the voices for the clones from Clone Wars, playing, just doing, making rumbling noises for Murph. I mean,
yeah,
you can't be hiring that guy who's a phenomenal voice actor just to do that. Surely there must be more to come from him than just that. That's just my opinion on
I mean, you
that.
never know. I mean, he may be hiding something, but I mean, you're right. Like it does seem silly to hire that an actor like that just to do the little bubbly noises, like what's his face from Spaceballs.
I agree. Well, the whole crew finally comes together after Gwyn escapes the protostar, and Dahl basically tells Gwyn, "You stranded us all," and then we end on a cliffhanger, which was kind of surprising. So it never got resolved. I did think that they would end up going back into the ship and then escaping and going, "Whew, glad we got away from that fucking place." But no, they're stuck, and the protostar has been taken down as well. Now, obviously, they'll get that shit out. I don't know how they'll get it out, but they will eventually.
I was about to say, I mean, I feel like there was no explosion. We didn't see it go down. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not the end of the Protostar.
No, I agree. That's definitely not the end of the Protostar. Um, it's kind of like the MacGuffin of the series because Palpatine wants it back. So I definitely don't think
I
it's
mean,
going
it'd
to
be a
come
really
back.
bold choice if they did blow it up this early, and then Palpatine shows up and it's destroyed. But
Yeah,
no,
but how yeah, but they can't. It's all about how they're going to do the rest of their exploration. So, um,
well,
but
Palpatine would show up, and then they would get on his ship, and yada yada. But I mean, as I said, I don't expect them to do that. I just thought it'd be a bold choice. I don't even know if it'd be a good choice. I just feel like it would be a bold choice. I mean, you'd lose Janeway right away too. So I mean, it's not. They're not getting rid of the Protostar. That ain't happening.
yeah, look, I mean, I'm not sure. I wouldn't like that. I mean,
It was
that's
all a
why.
dream.
Look, we've had episodes in the past on TNG as well as Voyager where they've been hypnotized or kind of mind controlled, and I I can see that playing a part possibly, but I really think I think this is the next episode. Personally, is where like Gwen becomes part of the crew. They have to all get along now,
Yeah.
and this is how she stops being a prisoner, and she joins the crew. She saved Murph already, so that's kind of put them on stead. But yeah, so I think that's what's gonna possibly happen in the future. But I mean, I don't know how you feel about this episode, Daniel, but I thought this episode was a lot more Star Trek than the previous ones with explorations and them coming across shenanigans and having to deal with it. It's quite frightening as well. A little bit of a horror element, which I very much appreciated. Um, and it hasn't been resolved, which is interesting. I really thought all of this would be resolved in this one episode, but it goes to show with some of the writing that it that they can't they obviously can't resolve an episode like this in 25 minutes. So I'm glad they're continuing with it. And I know Dahl, by the way, I know Dahl has not been a very popular character from what I've been hearing, but even though he came across as a bit of an idiot, he was right about not going to that M-class planet. It was the right decision after in hindsight. And on top of that, once he was the first one to break out the trance and use his wits and realize about the holographic Janeway not being real, and then he saved everyone.
Because he's
You
the
know,
Gary Stu. So I mean, he can do no wrong, and he has all the answers to all the questions.
no, he does do wrong though. He does do wrong because he's naive. But his his arc will be that he will become more of a team player, and we saw that
No, but
initially.
here's the thing: he's the answer to all the Like, he makes the problems, and then he solves his own problems. Like, that's pretty much what a Gary Stu or Mary Sue is like. They can do everything. Like, they make their own problems and then they solve them. Like, honestly, I would have loved it if, like, he solves a problem. It's kind of like that episode. What was, like, the second episode of season 2 of Lower Decks, where it's like Mariner and the one dude were going back and forth, and then they had to turn to Tindy and Rutherford uh to
Yeah,
get out of the problem because they
that
couldn't
was
do it.
yeah.
Every time it seems like Dowell's the one who's getting them out of the problems. And I get it. It's season 1. It's going to be focused on Dowell a lot. I understand that, but still, it's like,
No, no,
make
I thought
make a
Zero.
bold choice.
I
And
thought Zero got was the one who helped them out. Initially.
no, Zero was
Um,
just as entranced. And honestly, I don't even know if here's the thing. Zero's species, I don't think can be. They don't breathe. So, like, what kind of spores was she getting that would make her see other stuff? You know what I mean? Like, if there's spores involved, Zero's species doesn't breathe. They're non-corporeal. Like,
no, we never knew what was making them. I mean, like, we saw that green gas for Jake and Pog, but doesn't mean that was what was hallucinating them because We also saw the other members of the crew getting hallucinated, and they had no green gas. So, agree.
With me. He's pointing over at me.
Okay, okay, fair enough.
I mean,
But
yeah, I mean, I would love to get my kids' viewpoints on this, just because I feel like I'm being overly critical on it, just because I'm looking at it from my middle-aged man Trekkie myself. I mean, I could sit my kids down and watch this, and which I haven't really yet because we just haven't had time. But I could sit my kids down to watch this, and they might actually like it. And they don't. And I mean, look, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles back in the '80s was garbage. I didn't care back then. Like, so I mean, and I trust me, there's a lot of things that just when you're young and you see these things. So I'm trying to be as objective as I can, but my stupid Trek like mind won't let me in some cases, and I overanalyze it. So I understand. Like, I'm trying to be not as critical on this show as I am on the other ones that are geared towards Trekkies, but
I think personally, this show, I was willing to get. I mean, I wasn't being too critical on it because it was still early days, and it needs to find its feet. But once I saw this episode, I was very happy with this particular episode. This felt, just from the beginning of it, with them being told to explore a planet. You want to see that happen. No matter what happens in Star Trek shit, there's always shenanigans, and so we see that too. And the fact that it hasn't been resolved as well is that was a pleasant surprise. There's more to it than just escaping and wiping their brow and to live to fight another day. We got stakes now. They're stuck on this planet. They can't get their ship. Palpatine's on his way. It's gonna be interesting. And by the way, what I've heard is that CBS or whoever is offloading all this shit. They're going to we're gonna get Prodigy season 2 for a start. I'm not sure if you heard about that.
nope. I hadn't had a chance to look into anything yet.
Yeah, we're gonna get Prodigy season 2. That's been already greenlit. But on top of that, they're going to. I think after next week's episode, they're going to have a break, and then we won't be getting any more Prodigy until January next year.
Really?
Yeah, because
God.
they're going to put Discovery front and center.
Oh, so okay. I thought that we were gonna have concurrent Trek going on, but we're not.
Yeah, because apparently this is what they do with kids shows. Like this is what, and it wasn't like that when I was a kid. This is what they do with kid shows nowadays. Like they show a few episodes and they put a halt to it, and then they show a few more episodes. So the fifth episode will be like you heard a mid-season finale. This will be a quarter season finale, which is absolutely weird. But fair enough. However it goes, and then we'll be getting Star Trek Prodigy, sorry, Discovery. I think it's for its entire run, and then when that finishes, Star Trek Discovery for its entire run, and when that finishes, they'll put Prodigy back for a few more episodes before the next major Star Trek show, which will probably be Strange New Worlds or Picard. So yeah, so we'll get a few episodes of Prodigy, then we'll get a major Star Trek show, and then when that finishes, we get a few more episodes of Prodigy. Then we'll get another Star Trek show. That finishes, we'll get a few more episodes of Prodigy. Then we'll probably get Picard. That's how it is. It's weird like that because I don't think this method personally is doing any favors to Prodigy.
Not at all.
Because it's going to make people forget about it. You need to have this show on a weekly basis because they have to. The makers have to understand that even though this is meant for kids, mine and your middle-aged asses are fucking watching this shit as well. Daniel, I'm sure he's no fucking spring chicken. He's fucking watching it too, and pretty much everyone else in MVP are watching it as well. So yeah, this is meant for everybody. This is a family show. Even though it's initially designed for kids, it's Star Trek. I mean, Why the hell are me and you not? Me and you, of course, me and you are gonna fucking watch it. So I just think this is the wrong way to do things. But I think they want to obviously spread their shit out, leave no gaps in the calendar. There's always some episodes of Star Trek of what of some sort, whether it be a main show or these animated shows. So that's what they're doing right now. But yeah. So this was the episode. I am going to give this episode an excellent 8 out of 10. I loved it. I really did. I really did. I loved this episode. This was the best episode of the season so far. The first three episodes was, like I said, finding their feet, but this felt like proper Star Trek to me. How about yourself? 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
Damn. I'm kind of surprised you didn't see it from my perspective, and I really thought you would like this episode. It was
Nah.
yeah.
No,
No.
I was not feeling this episode at all. I wasn't feeling any of the shenanigans. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, hey.
No, I totally understand. Maybe Daniel Vance can give us his rating of this episode before we wrap this up. But yeah, I believe that their next episode will be the final episode for a little while, which is a shame. Oops. I don't know where Bobby Black has gone. He's been disconnected from us. Let's get rid of this branding, shall we? Oh, you're back. What happened there, mate?
I hit a button on my mouse. There's like this little side button on my mouse right here, and whenever I hit it, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and it boots me out. I don't know why. Season 1, episode 5, January 6, 2022.
Oh, so we're not going to get this next episode. Oh, yeah, because next week is Prodigy. Isn't it?
No, we season 1, episode 5 is not coming out till January 6th. This week was episode 4, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, sorry. So they're leaving it on this cliffhanger so they can get people to come in. So I apologize.
Oh God. Yeah. No. I'm glad Discovery's back. At least maybe that'll. I mean, as I said, this isn't like dampening my love for Star Trek or why is Brian Kurtzman doing this to me? Like, we literally got 3 episodes. I know it's 4, but the first 2 were together. We literally have 3 weeks of Prodigy, and they're just like, okay, here you go. It's like, the fuck? Like, no.
Look, you got to keep an open mind, man. This is for kids at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, how many kids want to watch 3 episodes of something and then, be left on a cliffhanger?
No, I agree with you there. But regarding the product itself,
let's say my kids do like this, and we get to that episode, they're going to be like, wait, that's it? Like, that's we get 3 episodes?
Yeah, I agree with you on that particular part. I agree that the way they're spreading this shit out is absolutely ridiculous. It's stupid. It's beyond stupid. Like I can't fathom why they would do this, but I do think the show itself is pretty good. When people get and binge the entire season, only purchasing 1 month of the a la carte service. But we've got so much Trek though, Daniel. So much Trek to come. Having little breaks here and there.
Well, and that makes me sad that we're not going to have I was excited to have our first bit of concurrent Trek in over 20 years. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that, or 19 years or whatever it was. I don't know. We figured it out one time, but like, I was excited that we were going to have, I mean, even if it is Prodigy and Discovery, it's like, it is the first time in over 20 years that we've had concurrent Trek running at the same time. And I was excited for that. And that kind of pisses me off that they're not doing that.
Exactly. But we will still be not only doing Discovery next week, but then the following week after that, we'll be doing Discovery and Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah. Hawkeye's coming.
Yeah, Hawkeye's coming. So there's a lot of Star Trek. There'll be a lot of shows for us to dabble with. But yeah, I think we babbled on about this shit long enough. I'm a bit pissed off that the resolution is not for a couple of months. It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
Absolutely fucking ridiculous. You know, like,
as I said, this show is not making or breaking my love for Trek or even new Trek. I'm sorry. Like, this show is not as important enough to me to break my love for Trek. Like, now if Lower Decks turns out and Discovery and Picard and all those other shows start to turn out to be shit, then we might be talking, okay, am I walking away from this franchise, which I probably still wouldn't. But still, like, this show is not making or breaking my Trek love.
no. What concerns me the most is that if you want to get kids involved in this, then you can't be like having a mid-season. You have a quarter season break after 4 fucking episodes.
Mm-hmm.
3
weeks, 4 episodes.
3 weeks, and we're already on a break. Like, it's unfathomable. Like, how are you going to get new people involved in Trek? How are you going to get a new generation involved in Trek with this sort of, scheduling? It's fucking ridiculous. That's what concerns me the most. I want Star Trek to have a legacy. I want it to have a future. Because we're not going to be here forever, and I want new people to appreciate this phenomenal saga that is Star Trek. And if this new show is a way to get kids involved, then they're doing the wrong thing about it with this sort of scheduling. Kurtzman has said that many of the Star Trek fans will not like the plans he has for the future of the Trek universe.
Well, here's the thing. I get it that the Trek needs to evolve with everything else. But at the same time, I mean, I'm okay with them having Trek for us and Trek for kids and Trek for the even older fans. Like Strange New Worlds may not even be my bag, but maybe my dad will like it because my dad was a huge Trekkie growing up. And then Discovery's, starting to get itself into a groove where me and you were starting to like it for our generation. And then, if we have like a Prodigy that's for the younger generation, and maybe they have some other Star Trek show that is for the younger, maybe a live action Star Trek show that's for the younger generation that is more geared towards kids. I don't mind having different facets of Trek. I mean, as I said, I'm not going to sit there. As I said, I don't hold Prodigy to the same pedestal that all other Trek has, because really, I mean, if I were to do that, Prodigy would probably be almost lower than the original series for me. Already, like, I mean, in the original series for me, I respect it, but it's not that great. Like, let's be real. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that awesome, especially for my generation, because it's very dated. So I try to keep that in mind when I do these things. But I mean, Kurtzman needs to realize that they need to have different facets of Star Trek. I don't mind having the kids section, but that doesn't mean I'm going to watch it. Really, I only watch this show because I'm doing reviews with you, and it kind of, and I want to bitch about something.
No problem. For me, like, the original series was a product of the 60s, and you see that in the filmmaking and a lot of stuff. TNG, Voyager, DS9 were a product of the late 80s and the 90s. You could see that in so many facets of it, and it makes sense to me that Star Trek created in the modern day will resemble certain things that are to do with these particular times. You're going to have gay characters, you're going to have trans characters, you're going to have more diversity. And me, I'm totally fine with that. I can't stand it when people have an issue with these things, because as I told somebody on Promenade the other day who was upset that the Eternals is woke, I said to them, listen, the fucking world doesn't consist of straight white men. There's all types of people. Yeah. I know. Having to explain it to these motherfuckers is really difficult because they're so used to seeing a particular, type of thing, and they don't realize that other people exist. And so, I'm very happy that Star Trek are putting all these demographics into play, because we're all part of that. We all share this planet. We're all in this planet. Now they just have to make less American characters. Personally, I don't mind American actors being in there, but fucking do an accent. Don't be fucking. I that's my only issue now. Because America's only like 5% of the fucking world. Yet they seem to be like 80%, 90% of fucking Star Trek. So we need to change that, in my opinion. And other than that, in the future, after if they do make those changes, I'll be fine with that. So, but other than that, that's I'm happy with whatever modernizing they're going to do with Star Trek because that's just the sign of the fucking times. So
Well,
I'm
and
all
that's
for
you
it,
know
Kurtzman,
when
all for it.
well, and when everybody was freaking out about Discovery and the way it looked, I'm like, what did you guys think it was going to look like? It's not going to look like the '90s sets. It's not going to look like the TOS sets. Like, like when everyone's like, "Oh, it looks too advanced." How do you have something that takes place 10 years before TOS, but it looks more advanced? I'm like, okay, grow the fuck up and realize it's a show. Like, come on, like they're paying enough homage to the original stuff, but you just have to realize that this is a TV show. Like you got to just realize it.
Look, my only issue was the fact that the Klingons, you
Well,
know,
no, that I get. That's a whole nother
that
issue.
yeah, like the Klingons was a massive issue for me because
Yeah,
they kind of like explained the Ridges thing in Enterprise. They did all that work just
and
for
just to be
for
undone by Discovery.
just to be undone by Discovery.
And it was an
Um,
easy fix. All they had to do was say, "Oh, this was a isolationist faction of the Klingon Empire that had no contact with the Empire for hundreds of years." There you go. They weren't. Then that means they weren't around during the whole Enterprise and the genetic things and all that other stuff. Easy explainer. No, then they went and all the other Klingons in the Klingon Empire had ridges too, and it's just like you guys had it right there. There's an explainer right there in front of you, and you guys are idiots, and you fucking blew it.
yeah,
Anyway, sorry, we're getting off track.
yeah. So yeah. Regardless, um, that's really my only issue with Discovery is the fucking Klingons. I have no problems with the sets and all of that. It's
No,
no
I
problem
didn't
at all.
either. I mean,
Exactly. So he says they did a better job explaining the Klingons in the novels. Yeah, well, books. I mean, they can go into
books.
they can go into more depth than anything. Like I'm not surprised by that at all. And we're talking Discovery, by the way, Discovery books.
Or just like
That
extended lore Trek books. Because
yeah,
there's probably extended lore in the TOS era that just. I mean, I've never read them. I know my dad's read a bunch of them, but I've never read them.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I was when it came to certain books, I was more into the Star Wars ones because with only three movies, I wanted at the time, and even with the prequels, there wasn't much going on after Return of the Jedi, so the books was like the best place to go, and they really did some massive lore building and stuff like that. But then Disney bought them, and now now
No, it don't even matter.
all that stuff I consume don't mean shit. It's unbelievable. Makes me so unhappy. But it's good to know that they are actually now using elements of that lore because people don't like what Disney have come up with. So I mean, just to
Well,
go on a little tangent here, they're fucking kyber crystals, like how you make them bleed in order to turn red. I can't stand that. I fucking can't stand that.
and the other thing is yeah. I mean, here's the thing: when Disney rolled back the extended canon, basically what they said is that it's not canon unless we make it canon. So yes, they're not. It's not canon, but like Thrawn then wasn't canon, but then Thrawn show was in Rebels, so that he was canon again.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I get it. I get what Disney did because
And
there's
Mandalorian, his name
huh?
was mentioned. His name was mentioned in Mandalorian
Yeah.
by Ahsoka Tano.
Well, and he was in Rebels too. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
um we're thinkers, we're like faction.
Well, Trek Law known rigid, but the thinkers rigid were more like more like faction. Rigid pulled the coup and killed them all. They later faced their disease because of the loss of those genetics. Ah, you see, this kind of reminds me of the stupid thing they did in Predators. Have you seen
Mhm.
Predators?
No, I have not, but I know of it.
Basically, they like there's two
There's like
types of
genetically
predators.
enhanced predators and stuff.
No, there's two types. There's the predators we're used to, and then we've seen in all these movies we've seen, and now there's like a more advanced predator than that, and they've been fighting him for all that sort of bollocks. It was fucking stupid. So they made like a super predator. It's
Yeah, I
fucking
remember there was
stupid.
some like super predator or something like that. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. It's all fucking stupid. So, but yeah, all right. So that is our review and debate of Star Trek Prodigy, Season 1, Episode 4, The Dreamcatcher, and unfortunately, there won't be another episode until goddamn January because we have to fill the void with Star Trek Discovery. And the next big fucking thing they're going to be dealing with, which is going to be like, can't they just keep it a bit back to basics? But no, they have to make a massive phenomenon of
Yeah.
this
Well,
entity
I'm
destroying the
hope.
whole fucking universe.
Well, I'm just hoping that they made it overly dramatic in the trailer to lure people in, and it's not really like this big, huge universal threat that only Michael Burnham can fix. So, we'll see. As I said, I'm hoping they're just doing that for the trailer, and it's not actually that. I would have loved to have had it though, where they were just going around giving out dilithium crystals to Federation
Mm.
planets. We get to catch up with. Some of the other races, and yeah, hopefully we can get
That would have been absolutely ideal.
yeah.
Instead of like all this bullshit they're doing right now, with what we see in the trailer, just bringing back the dilithium and having to deal with all these different sort of like diplomatic solutions and all of that sort of stuff would have been far more Trek like and far more interesting than what I think I see them doing in the trailers for this, which kind of got me
The
concerned
anomaly
because
that's so big. It's
and it's
like that.
destroying everything.
Yeah,
It kind of
it's
reminded me.
major.
It reminded me of the anti-Nexus. It's like sorry, it reminded me of the Nexus, but like an anti-Nexus. Like we saw in Generations. Like while the Nexus is like a glorified space holodeck, um, this thing is like destroying everything. And next thing we'll find out some fucking kid alien can control it, like we saw in like we saw in last season when it was what's the name of Saru species?
Uh, uh, Not Denobulan. What are they called? Oh man, I forget. I don't remember. I'll look it
But we
up
saw
later.
like, but that it was that yeah, but nevertheless it was that kid that was the one that basically had a bit of a meltdown and ended up destroying all the dilithium around the universe. It could be something along those lines again regarding
Kelpian.
the space Kelpian. It could be something along those lines where they find out a particular entity is the one that is somehow controlling this gigantic space rift, which is bigger than planets, destroying planets, and God knows what. Yeah,
I hope they were just doing an over exaggerated trailer, and because I mean we've seen the Ferengi in the trailer. Well, as a Ferengi officer. 5 bucks says
people are
it's a
making
descendant of
people making a
Khan.
big people are making a big deal about that. I don't know
Well,
why.
they're like, oh, look at it. It's like, God, guys, just can we please just not too much umox? That's what that's from. When you have too much umox, that's what happens to your lobes. There we go. Like,
I'll be I'll
go
be
ahead.
interested to see how he talks. Does he talk like he's like how Ferengis talk? Yeah, but then again, Rom, he is it Rom or Nog? I keep forgetting now. The guy who owns the bar in DS9. He spoke
Quark.
very eloquent. Yeah, Quark. Sorry, Quark. He spoke very elegantly. In DS9, he didn't sound like a fucking caveman like a lot of the
I mean,
Ferengis do.
he had. I mean, they all had that. The reason why is because they have those teeth, those mouth teeth.
Yeah, I know, but they do talk like they're fucking Neanderthal man at times. The
Well,
Ferengi.
that was
Remember
in
the
TNG.
early
They were
yeah.
definitely a lot
But
different.
but
And
Quark had like he was very vocally he was very cool. He knew how to speak better than I do right now, to tell you the truth. So yeah, um, Star Trek Discovery. Yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed too. Daniel Vance, I really am. This is what we have as Trek nowadays. But don't forget, there's more Trek to come after that. If Discovery doesn't float your boat, maybe
Strange New
Strange New
World.
Worlds, and we're getting the fan service with Picard. So he's a Ferengi MMA fighter, cauliflower Umox.
Umox.
I
Ooh.
thought for me he seemed like a Ferengi. He's been in a tanning salon a bit too long. That's all. It was very dark for his Ferengi. Ferengi tend to be a bit lighter, in my opinion. But okay, who cares about that? So tomorrow, by the way, I will be doing a debate and review of TNA, the rise and fall of TNA. Now, I've been watching some documentaries on the rise and fall of TNA. I'll just pull up one for you right now if you guys want to quickly see. The documentaries are okay. Let's pull over and see what we've got here. Look, this is a search result, actually. I'll give you the search result on YouTube. There you go. There's a whole bunch of documentaries there. Some of them are like 40 minutes long. They're pretty good, but they're not great. But nevertheless, we're going to be debating and talking about the rise and fall of TNA, and we'll be using what information we get out of these documentaries to talk about that. If you guys know, TNA at one point was, in my opinion, the place to be when it came to wrestling. They were very unique. You know, they had a different style to wrestling. They had up and coming guys, new guys making a name for themselves. They changed their ring to make it six-sided, to make things a little bit more different. They had a variety of different characters, and they all made, a lot of them, even though they had some ex-WWE guys too, they had people who kind of made their name within TNA. Yes, Jeff Jarrett was a WWE guy, but he was one of the founding fathers of TNA. You got people like AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Abyss, Eric Young. I think all these guys, Motor City Machine Guns. They really put TNA on the fucking map. They really did. PD Williams and his Canadian Destroyer. When I saw that wrestling with that spinning pole driver, I was hooked. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stick around and see what these motherfuckers have to offer.
Yeah, I'm hoping I can join you guys, but it just depends on time and work. So
yeah.
But I mean, I was a big TNA mark from like 2005 to 2010. Like once Hogan came in, I was like,
yeah.
I'm out.
Once the six-sided ring was gone, I was out.
Yeah,
I was out.
I think I lasted a couple weeks out because wasn't it that first night on the 4th they took it out?
I think they took it out within a month of being there, and I was like, okay, maybe. I'm done. I remember Hulk Hogan like calling it, I want to fight in a wrestling ring, not in a pig pen, brother. I mean, I thought, fuck you, mate, fuck you. And I was tweeting fucking Dixie Carter, telling her, bring that shit back. What are you doing? And then people started abandoning the company because, like, but anyway, look, we can talk about that tomorrow when we do our little debate. I'll be with Jose. Jose's definitely joining me tomorrow, and he's an encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to TNA. Hopefully, Shredder might be joining me. If not, then maybe Gary. But we'll see how it goes. But until then, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, not only to No Budget Productions, who we are associated with, and I'll be doing a Cynical, Not Critical tomorrow with them, but also to NerdTube, we're the greatest YouTube channel you never fucking heard of. We've got so much shit coming out of us that there is definitely a metaphor there, which I won't go into.
There's no toilet that can hold all this shit coming out of us.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, and hopefully we'll be doing. By the way, if people who know who Law Reloaded is, hopefully we'll be doing some work with him pretty soon. So keep an eye out for that as well. He's a prominent Star Trek YouTuber, and we'll be working with him very soon. So, like I said, keep an eye out for us. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, with the greatest YouTube channel you never fucking heard of. We'll see you cunts later. Live long and prosper.
Suck.